Hello everyone. In today's video session, we are going to talk about the recent notification which is received from the Pharmacy Council of India, New Delhi, on 9th of October 2020 about the Educational Regulations 2020 for Diploma course in Pharmacy. The educational regulation till now followed were Education Regulation 1991. So, with the revision of the same, the Educational Regulation 2020 now is officially published in Section 4 of Part 3 in the Gazette of India Extraordinary. The Education Regulation 2020 Diploma course in Pharmacy in exercise of the power conferred by the Section 10 of Pharmacy Act 1948, the Pharmacy Council of India with the approval of the central government. The PCI with the approval of central government has exercised the Educational Regulation 2020 as per the powers conferred by the Section 10 of the Pharmacy Act 1948. The Education Regulation 2020 Diploma course in Pharmacy contains total 4 chapters. Now, Chapter 1 is Introduction, Chapter 2 is Course Structure and Examination, Chapter 3 is Practical Training, Chapter 4 is Certificate Repeal and Saving Appendix. Now, these 4 chapters are divided into these sections. Now, we have also made our video series into 4 sections. Now, this video will contain the information on Chapter 1, that is Introduction, and further 3 videos will give you further information, like second video will focus on the Chapter 2, third on Chapter 3, fourth on Chapter 4, and so on. So, to start with, Chapter 1 Introduction is divided into 3 points. Now, first point from the Chapter 1 is short title and commencement. Now, the regulations may be called, now this short title, they may be called Education Regulations 2020 for Diploma course in Pharmacy. This Educational Regulations 2020 are revised on the basis of the Education Regulation 1991, which is followed till date. Now, they shall come in force on the date of their publication in the official gazette. They shall, it is expected that they will start the Education Regulations 2020 is expected to come in force from the this academic year which we are going to start. So, coming towards the second point from the Chapter 1 is the qualification for the pharmacist. Now, Chapter 1 second point includes the minimum qualification for the pharmacist. To be a registered pharmacist, the minimum qualification required shall be that candidate or that person who wants to get certified as registered pharmacist should pass Diploma in Pharmacy Part 1 and Part 2. Now, Part 1 and Part 2 in common term it includes your first year and second year of Diploma in Pharmacy, and along with Part 1 and Part 2 a satisfactory completion of Diploma in Pharmacy Part 3. Part 3 includes your practical training of 500 hours. So, this Part 1, Part 2 and Part 3, a detailed information of Part 1 and Part 2 is there in Chapter 2. A detailed information of Part 3 is there in this next chapter, that is Chapter 3, which includes all the details regarding the practical training, how it is to be done, what should be the period, what are the other conditions required, what is the procedure to be followed, and the format for the training form. That is this appendix. In Chapter 4 there are various appendix A, Appendix B, Appendix C, Appendix D. So, Appendix D has the proper format of practical training contract form for the pharmacist, which is subdivided into 5 sections, and appendix C deals with the conditions which are to be fulfilled by the institution to be recognized for giving practical training. That means concerned hospital, pharmacy or medical store, that conditions which are to be fulfilled by them. So part 3 is covered under chapter 3, and then part 1 and part 2 is covered under chapter 2, which includes all the course of study, subjects, their allocated timing hours, then examination details, what kind of marks distribution is there for the exam, how the exams will be conducted, what is the eligibility to appear in the exams, all these details, or any other qualification approved by the Pharmacy Council of India as equivalent to the above qualification, that is diploma part 1, part 2 and part 3. So chapter 1, the third point, which is the last point from the chapter 1, includes it talks about the diploma in pharmacy part 1, part 2 and part 3. The part 1, part 2 and part 3 shall consist of a certificate of having completed the course of study and passed the examination after satisfactory completing the practical training as prescribed in chapter 2 and chapter 3 of these regulations. So the certificate of having completed the course of study, that is part 1, part 2, part 3. Part 1, part 2 first year, second year, and part 3 is practical training of 500 hours, which includes the skills such as the pharmacist should be able to dispense the medicines properly, patient counseling is one part, then handling of the prescription is the another part, along with inventory control procedures as well as stocking of medicines or other medical devices. So this examination after satisfactory practical training, as and when the details of the examination will be received, we will publish it soon for your information. And with this we finish with chapter 1. In our next video we are going to talk about chapter 2, which includes the detailed information about the course structure and the examination pattern. With this we finish with chapter 1. Thank you.